sense of where the industry is today. In one sense, it seems like the walls are closing in. Gensler's been playing, maybe arguably he's been playing catch up a little bit, but you've seen suits now being brought against some of the biggest platforms. There are criminal charges facing some of the biggest executives. Uh, and yet Bitcoin has roughly doubled in price this year. Jay Powell last month said the asset class has staying power. The industry is celebrating its partial win in the Ripple lawsuit last week. Do you think the bubble has popped? What should our audience know?
So you should know a couple of things. First is the volumes in crypto, majority of volume runs to the overseas exchanges. So not the domestic exchanges. There is obviously some volume there, but the majority runs to the overseas exchanges. FTX was a big player, but the biggest exchange in crypto, and has been since 2018, is Binance, which has now been sued by the SEC and the CFTC. And there's been reporting that the DOJ is considering charging them with crimes. Binance is the largest crypto exchange by a country mile. It's been as much as 75% of the spot volume in crypto. I believe it's still 40 to 50%. So were Binance to go down, that would be a massive blow to the industry as it currently exists. In addition, there are other players in crypto who I have no inside knowledge of this, but could face law enforcement action in the future. I think the easiest way for me to say it is there are a lot of unknown variables at this point. I am not here to give people financial advice, but I would just say, and I have no stake in this anymore, but I would just say, crypto really exists as a story. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I go into this in the book in great detail. It doesn't really make much sense as an investment because it's unclear what you're actually investing in. They aren't currencies. They're more like securities, but securities would normally be a share of a stock or something. Well, if you invest in, let's say, Apple, you have a share of Apple. Well, Apple, it makes stuff, phones and this computer I'm talking to you on, services as a revenue stream. The cryptos don't have any of that. So, and for their economic value, and I'm not alone in this. I mean, 7 Nobel Prize winning economists have said crypto is a bubble. Economically, their value is effectively zero unless you count gambling and criminal activity as use cases, which is sort of what crypto has been used for thus far. But you can gamble on anything, and criminal activity is criminal, so it should at least theoretically be outlawed. So, I would say there's significant downside risk. I guess the only thing I would say is that if you are gambling, one rule of gambling is never gamble more than you can afford to lose.